Hello, everyone. We are back for another 10Q game here on Pandanet. I always want to say Go Panda. That's what the app is called, but I also want to call it IGS often because that's what it used to be called. But yes, it's Pandanet. Let's see if we can get a game here. All right, we found a game. We are black this time. We do want to say hello. Oh, without yelling at them. Very good. Our opponent this time is 9Q. And I'm just going to start with all 4 fours and see how this develops, I guess. Okay, everyone gets a 4-4. Instead of playing 3-3 invasions, I'm going to do approaches this time because both of them are equally as good as each other. It's just one is more popular than the other. And in this case, they really want the territory. Whenever they play this move, your priority is not trying to figure out how to punish them. Your priority is fixing your weak group. So we just go back here, make a 2-space base, and we move on from it. If they then do not play another move against their stone, like here, they're trying to pressure me way too much. Now we have the opportunity to take away the move that they were supposed to play, but only after we've helped our weak group. The first thing to do to help our weak group is that we definitely want to take away the base from our opponent. So we're going to play this nice enclosure move while also taking away their base. And they're really trying to take away our base, but all we have to do is stay connected. We don't even have to worry about anything. We're just going to stay connected completely. Normally they were supposed to have played H2 here to threaten to connect on either side, but in this case, we're very happy to block. We're threatening to capture these 2 stones, getting a little bit of a base, but we're also separating them from connecting on either side. So we don't need to attack this singular stone directly. The entire purpose of our first move was to take away the base. The next step is surrounding, but we have a weak group, so we don't need to surround right now. Our first step at this point is to just jump towards the center. We can jump in any way you want. Knight's move here, a jump here, whatever sort of thing you want to do. I'm just going to do a knight's move just because it looks fun. We don't have to really punish our opponent too much here. They've taken some territory and they have a weak group. We don't really need to do too much. I'm going to play another move to prevent them from becoming a strong group, because if they attach to my stone here, they could maybe get some extra eye shape. So I'm going to jump up here, which is also threatening to sort of surround them a little bit. This diagonal move, yes, they are preventing us from connecting underneath with this type of move. That's not something I ever needed to do. And my goal was to keep running away with my own stones. If they jumped again, I was going to also jump again. So now I'm just going to jump one more time. And they're going all in on the idea of trying to not care about their group at all, which is not very good. We don't really want to block at Q3 here. They're just going to live. We're not really getting that many points when we do that. We want to block the other direction. If we're going to let them live in the corner anyway, I'm basically pushing them towards my stronger side in this case. So we can just Hane. It's a bit unusual to do this. Normally you want to Hane here, but I don't mind blocking. Normally, when they Hane on the second line, they're leaving a lot of Aji for me on the outside. So then I may have actually just connected here instead. I could also block now, and this group is not necessarily alive. I'm still going to connect for now to get rid of any of the Aji that I have, because this group is still not alive. And even the turn here is still not alive for this group in the corner. So they may not know that they are not alive. But before I ever go to kill them or do anything to punish that group, I need to make sure my other group is strong. I'm not going to let them have it. Because if we make a mistake when we go to punish our opponent in some way, then it wasn't really worth doing the punishment. It's always a good thing to keep in mind. In this case, they are trying to pressure us some more, but we're just going to... We could try to pressure them to a more extreme direction, but we could also just jump. I was thinking about just jumping, but I wasn't sure which one I feel is the more appropriate one to do. They don't have a base. I've threatened to surround them multiple times, so I think it is time to surround them. This isn't a perfect surround, but I think it's time to try to do something like this. I don't know how I'm going to make a lot of points in the center, so I'm going to be playing from the side to try to make a lot of points on the side with this. And while they're jumping out this direction, I'm going to be using this as a way to strengthen my other group. So I can either extend here or jump here. So I'm just going to extend, keep it very, very simple and make sure my group's very strong. The more that this group has to run, the more that they have to make bad exchanges, which gives me points on the right side. Okay, I don't mind doing another knight's move. We don't usually want to be pushing from behind as best we can. We push here, they're ahead of us when they extend. So we want to try to jump ahead of them. So playing another knight's move here is really nice. That is very much too aggressive again. This is something they're doing over and over again because they're very, very jealous of everything we're getting. So we don't want to be pushing them this direction, or we're pushing them towards this very open, wide area. We actually want to be pushing them towards our strength here. So we could do it in a very safe way with like another knight's move here like this. Or we could be a little bit more aggressive if we wanted to. I think it doesn't really matter which one we choose. I'm going to play the slightly more aggressive move. They decide to jump out again. We could decide to kill off this stone because they're sort of going back and forth, or we could decide to strengthen our other group. I think there's plenty of space to run around, so I am just going to kill off the stone. Remember, this corner is also still not alive, but I don't ever want to have to do anything about the corner yet because I want to make sure none of my groups are in trouble before I go back to punish. So here we have some cutting points in our shape, so I'm going to peep at this 2 space here to fix some of our cutting points. Our group is basically alive now, like no more things that we have to really worry about. We could play one more move if we're really not sure, because there's like a peep and like a push and cut. Maybe there's something there, but it seems a little bit difficult. So I'm just going to reduce the eye shape of this group from the outside. And it's already pretty close to just dead. We do have some cutting points here. If they turn, they can cut here. It's probably not going to matter too much, but I think I will also just defend that one more time. And then if they decide to try to live with this group, then we can go back and attack the larger group here. Just going to extend here. The corner is still already a very dead shape. So this group is also not alive yet, but I need to make sure that I don't have any weakness before I try to kill. I'm going to cover here, even though I don't necessarily have to. If I try to read it all out, I don't think I have to. But if I cover here now, I won't ever have to worry about my group. And I still have this profit in the corner that I can take. They decide to fix the corner, and that means we can go and kill this group now. Because after that Hani and this attachment, it is now a dead shape. And we don't block it directly here when they capture. We actually want to pull back so there's no Atari there. It's fixing all of our shape this way. Okay, yep, there is a wedge. And when they connect, we will have to connect as well. And then we can just block here. Let's read it out for a second. If we just block, they play this move. We play on the inside. If they push, we play on the inside again. It looks like it's going to be like a Seki shape. So in order to kill, we would have to play this move here. So if they push through and cut, we can Atari, and our group is already alive. So it looks like we can play this move to kill. Yep, block here. As I said, we can Atari directly. And then we can just make sure our group is 100% alive. If they throw in here, there's an Atari, and maybe they can get something else. So I'm just going to give myself 2 eyes directly. One thing we can do before we defend is that we could also do this peep here. Because if we get to do this Atari, then it'll be a nice race against these 2 groups. But if I'm unsure if that works, it's better to just make sure you're alive before doing it. Because if we're alive here and they're dead on the side, then we're doing pretty well, since they also still have a group that's in a lot of danger. Yeah, they're very, very aggressive at taking territory, but they're also not very careful with what they're doing. So I'm just going to extend. We want to be very strong here because we can attack this group and push it towards that top side. So I'm very happy to do this. And it looks like we can now peep here because our weakest group is this center group here. So we want to actually focus on that before we get back to anything else. So I'm going to be jumping towards the center to make sure our group is never able to be attacked. This is a bit of a questionable move. This is just a ladder towards the side of the board. and that's all that it does. And that move also doesn't really do anything, but they are trying very hard to try to read something out here. But in this case, it just doesn't quite work. So I'm okay with trying to just surround. Is there anything else we need to worry about here? It looks like maybe the diagonal is going to be the better way to surround like this. Okay. I'm focusing on the idea that I'm saving my group before surrounding. So the diagonal is another move where it's closer to my other group. If they Atari us here and they Hane and we Atari, it's sort of like a ko shape in this area. We do have to be a little bit careful with that. So is there a way we can make sure that that's not as big of a deal? I'm not sure the way I want to play it. We can actually just defend like this maybe. So when they Atari and they Hane, we're able to Hane back. And if they connect, we can pull down. Because then if they Atari this and try to cut, it's going to be potentially fine. But we just give up a stone and we make sure our group is safe on the outside. So let's play the defensive move, trying to fix our shape on the outside. Because we're still surrounding this group. Looks like we can still play like here, for example. We just capture directly. That could also work. Which one do I like more? I like the extend more, but capturing directly is a little bit more obvious because there's a cutting point. Okay, so now they are going to try to escape on this side. So we want to just keep our group connected as best we can. We're never going to be able to connect it perfectly, but we want to do the best we can. And if we ever need to just protect our group and not worry about anything else, then we just do that. I don't mind making sure my group is still alive. So now they're trying to make two eyes here, but my focus is still going to be on making sure my group in the center is safe. So I need to turn here, prevent any sort of cutting Aji, and we're just going to surround. Okay, so now they're going for this Atari thing that I was telling you about before. Let's try to make this into some eye shape, but it doesn't quite work because we can Atari them now. And we are, for the most part, already connected here if we really wanted to be. But in this case, I'm not going to worry about if they can live or not. I think it's better if I just fix my shape. So I can connect here to make everything 100% connected. And then they can go and try to make their two eyes here. So I'm just going to connect solidly. This is threatening the Hane over the top here. We can probably Hane here if we really want to. But as I said, I don't mind too much if they go back to live here. So we're going to play the follow-up that we were threatening with our connection earlier. And then I'm just going to play simple Hane and connect to get some profit out of the corner. They have to play one more move or else they're dead. So now we're all connected everywhere. And the only thing we really have to worry about is if they can live here. If we play again and they try to make this other eye, it's kind of sente. I don't really want them to push through, right? So we play over here. They can make an eye over here somewhere. It looks like they can try to live if they want to. So I'm not going to worry about their group. Even if there's a way for me to kill it, I'm still not going to worry about it. We're going to move on to the next part of the board. We could approach on the top side. That could work to try to build up this area. Or we could try to split the left side in some way. Either one's going to be fine. So let's just approach the top. Something that's really easy to see, right? We're going to be able to make this into points. The left side could and probably is bigger, but I can for sure see the profit that I can make on the top. So that's why I want to start with the top move. And yes, I will block when they go to make their eyes here. As I said, it already felt like they probably could make eyes, so I didn't want to bother with their group. And I'm okay with connecting here as well. If they go to connect underneath, we can Atari and still come underneath over here if we want to. But also that they can't connect here because it's just a dead group. I thought they're going to maybe try to do a ko shape. That's why I wanted Atari first. But yeah, they can't do it this way. So now they've tried to be 100% certain that their group is alive. And you know what? I appreciate that. That was really nice. If they push and cut here, we can capture the stone because we have this net. Push, cut, net here, they cannot escape because we're too strong. So I don't need to worry about that push and cut, and we can just move on to following up with our move again, right? Earlier, we connected to make sure we were all strong here, and then we got to follow up because they didn't respond. And now we got to approach here and then also approach again. And that's all we're really doing. We're just following up on the things that we're threatening our opponent with. And even here, I'm going to surround the corner. Surrounding is often really good in this situation. They can try to push and cut if they want to, but you see I have all this influence in the center, so I'm very happy to surround like this. And they very much made sure that they were alive here in the corner. So now we can just move on to like the left side of the board in some way. We play something simple like this, but I actually want to go a little bit closer to the corner. Because if they play something simple and they play towards the corner, they get a lot of points very easily. And yeah, we do get to build some center, but I'd much rather disrupt my opponent a little bit versus just building my own territory. For finding the right move, I'm looking at the move my opponent probably wants to play. They probably want to play like a knight's move or a large knight's move. If I get too close, that's always a little bit too much, because what if they can fight back and it ends up being bad? So I'm going to play the large knight's move away from their formation, because that's sort of what they wanted here. And that's the easiest way to find a move, is find what your opponent wants in an area and see if it's okay for you to play it instead. I'm still threatening to build a large area. If they decide to invade in some way, it's hard for them to make two eyes. So I'm okay with disrupting the amount of points my opponent is getting in exchange for allowing them to potentially try to live somewhere. So if we take away their base this time and they do like a diagonal move, I'm going to be pushing, and it's going to be a little bit awkward because we're moving towards my own stones, but also their own strong stones. So I'm going to jump first to make sure that I'm just connected to my own stones. And after they make this base, the next thing I want to do is make sure they can't push and cut me or do anything else. So I'm just going to play this knight's move here, or not knight's move. It's a knight's move, but I was thinking more of the 1-point jump. But yeah, now they can't cut this area off. My group is very strong, and they're the ones who have to go and try to live here. The more exchanges my opponent has to make to try to live in an area, the better it is for me, because I'm getting all the exchanges. I'm getting the benefit from all the bad exchanges they make. So here I want to press them down because I can still make some points here in the center area. And it's easier to press from this area because I already have this knight's move into another knight's move. I don't want to play a move that's not too connected to my own stones, even if I'm strong locally. I'm just going to extend here. Normally you do an attachment, but I don't really mind playing this extension because it gives a weakness to my opponent. Now I can just try to connect everything. This is where we have to read everything if we really want to make this work. If we try to jump here, they can push. They can do this diagonal, and then maybe they can hane, and maybe there's cutting points. Maybe we don't want to do that sort of move. Maybe just pushing is better. Threatening to just connect up and just take this territory. Sometimes getting more liberties is the stronger way to play. Yep, they can do that if they want to. And I'm just going to let them. They got a lot of points, but I got to completely secure all of my territory in the center. So I'm pretty happy with this. And now we can move on to just playing just this sort of big end game moves. We do have one more weakness here that we do want to worry about a little bit. A place where they could maybe even try to come back and live. But if we play this move, they can jump into our area. So I'd much rather block it from the top side at F18 versus trying to block this one. So I think that's what I want to do. But is there anything else I want to try first? I think that's all I really want here. I think just blocking here would be really nice. Now they can't jump into my territory. And this weakness that I have is much more difficult for them to use if they really want to try to live. And they are going to try to live in my territory. There is some sort of attachment here that would be very annoying, but I also think it doesn't really work too well. So I'm not going to worry about it. I'm just going to actually fix that other weakness that I talked about. There was something that they could do there. So I'm just going to get rid of that something. This is very, very important when your opponent tries to go live in your area. You need to get rid of as many of your weak points as is possible. If they have anything that they can use to get free moves, That's how they can live. So I don't care what move they play in the center unless I really need to respond to it. What I care about is fixing any possible problem. Like this one's very unusual. So if I just connect, maybe they extend and they're trying to make a cutting point again. So I'm going to Atari first. And then I don't mind connecting to get rid of all possibility of any cuts. They did something like this earlier as well, which is kind of interesting. They can Atari me here and maybe start trying to bully my potential cutting points on this side, so I don't mind answering. I'm going to get rid of their tiger's mouth. The tiger's mouth is a fantastic shape in order to try to live with a group. I don't want to let them have that, so I'm going to push here. They could have actually Haned if they wanted to. There is a cutting point. Maybe they're worried about that, but I definitely do not want them to get the tiger's mouth shape. So the next thing I really don't want to let them have is any sort of forcing move against my 2 stones here in the center. When I'm looking around, everything is pretty much connected everywhere, and the only weakness I have is related to the amount of liberties my stones in the center have. Because these only have 3 liberties, maybe there's a move they can use against these stones. And I don't really want to allow that to happen. So I'm going to, there's a couple different ways I could do it, but I'm just going to Atari here. And now if I get to capture this stone, there's nothing they could use, right? And if they connect, I can play another move if I want to, or I can do something else. So in this case, now we have to look at getting rid of their eye shape. They're allowed to make 1 eye. 1 eye is not a big deal, but we just don't want to let them make 2 eyes. And we're very, very strong. There's a reason why we played this tiger's mouth. There's a reason why we blocked here at F18. Now we're very, very strong in this local area. So we want to prevent them from getting any really good moves to make 2 eyes. One of the things we can look at is the tiger's mouth shape again. If they play over here, it looks closer to making multiple eyes. And we already fixed our problem here. So I'm going to peep here at the tiger's mouth shape. So even if you're wrong about how strong you are in a local area, as long as you think you did all the right things and you made yourself as strong as you possibly could, you have to play as if you are very strong in that area. In that case, this means I'm going to be separating their stones, pushing through up here, because we're able to connect up on either side. We're able to just connect here. We can also push through at this point if we really wanted to as well. But I'm just going to connect my group up, make sure there's no Aji here. The cut doesn't really do anything, so I'm just going to capture it, make sure it's not useful. I didn't even notice he played it there for a second. I was looking at something else. Okay, now we connected. So now we want to make sure there's no Aji again against these 3 stones. And there is a little bit of Aji. If they attach here, maybe there's something. This is the biggest weakness I have. Only 3 liberties means there's maybe something my opponent can do. So I'm going to play a move here to enhance my liberties. I'm jumping from my stones basically right now. Jumping up from my stones, also lowering the amount of liberties my opponent has. I don't see a way for my opponent to get 2 eyes anymore. The best way that I can imagine that they can get 2 eyes is by Atariing my stone here at J17. I have to capture, and then they can try to do something. But it doesn't look like that actually works. But since that's the strongest response I can see them playing, I'm going to play one more move to make sure I didn't make any mistakes here. So you could connect, or you could play this tiger's mouth. The tiger's mouth would also be fine. Connecting would be fine, tiger's mouth would be fine. I don't know which one's better, which one I like more. I think I don't need to play either of them, though. I will play one more just in case. Let's do tiger's mouth, because it looks nicer. Extending up. I understand what they're trying to do. Often you want to sacrifice 2 stones instead of sacrificing 1 stone. But in this case, it doesn't actually do anything. And we can actually connect solidly here. We don't even have to Atari. Because there's no way for them to connect up their groups. Yep, we just need to block, make sure they can't do anything. Yep, just connect. Yep. In this case, we do not connect on this side because they could connect underneath if they wanted to. And we would normally want to capture. But also in this case, they can't connect underneath. They don't have that many liberties. So it could also be really nice to just connect here. But most of the time, I would say just capture the stone, so then they can't have any sort of Aji on the top. So that's what I'm going to do. Just get rid of all the Aji they have on the top. I do like that they have some understanding of Tesuji, actually. It's like they're one step behind in a lot of situations, which is kind of interesting. Just cut off their stone. We're very, very strong. It doesn't matter what they do here. We can just cut it. Now they're going back to this area. And we could potentially wedge and cut to get some extra points. We could also extend here. So the simplest move is just to block, but you should also look at your other options. What's another type of move you could maybe play? If we extend down and they connect and we extend down again, it looks like we're actually just cutting them off. So do we have any weakness we need to worry about when we do that? If we cut them off, they cut here, nothing. There's nothing there. Okay. They extend. We can fix this cutting point. It looks like we could cut them off if we wanted to. So I'm going to do that for now. We have enough liberties everywhere that this is going to be a strong way to play. If you can't read something out, play the move you know works, play the move you know is safe. But if you think you can read it out, you should try to play it anyway. If you're wrong, all you've learned is that you were wrong about the situation. You can try to do better next time. It's okay if you lose a game. I've definitely made some very big mistakes in my own games like this, so we'll see what happens. But if you have to always assume that your reading is correct. That's very, very important. You have to assume your reading is correct. Yeah, we're going to push here. Just connect is actually not as simple as that. I almost said just connect, but our opponent can't cut over here. It's a shortage of liberties. So we could actually block this way. And if they Atari, we connect, they extend out, we're probably actually fine. And so I think I'm going to do that instead. It's okay if they cut me there because they cannot cut on the other side. Yep, connect. They're extending back this way. The cut over here does not work. And we don't have a cut on the other side. So something we can do before we defend our group is actually play a forcing move. If we play e4 and they don't cut us, we can always connect back at e4, which means our group is safe. And we also have these stones captured at the top. But this is the first move I want to think about. I want to play here first. I'm threatening to connect up my group and not be cut off. Now, as I said, what they don't really realize is that I'm already fine here. The 3 stones captured on top, I'm already connected all the way through. There's nothing that they can really do. So the only other thing that I can really worry about here is if this pushing cut ever really does anything for these middle stones. Of course, I do have this capture, but I could also play a move here at the center to make sure there's no cutting points or even connecting here. Before doing that, though, again, I want to capture on the bottom. If I can capture these 2 stones, my group is alive, so I don't have to worry about it again. So let's capture. And I'm also connecting up to this side, which is really nice. So I'm going for a little bit more than I need to go for, but I also want to show them that the moves they're playing are not very effective. They're not doing anything, and they can't live here in the center. I really want to point that out. So now that this is connected up to this side, we don't have to worry about this group anymore. We can just move on with the game. So I think I will just play a big move. And I'll even just answer, because it doesn't matter which way I answer. So let's do this one, because it takes away their point here. If I don't play again, they can capture with the clamp at b15. So that's why I want to play at least one more move. I'm going to, since I'm not really worried about the points that I'm making over here, it doesn't really matter. Like this honey doesn't really matter in that regard, because I wasn't going to make that many points there anyway. So my goal is to reduce the amount of points that they are potentially making. So I'm definitely happy to do this diagonal move here. Now they've connected. Now I do have this cutting point, so I want to fix this cutting point. I can fix it on the inside like this, or I could potentially Atari on the outside, but then I'll have to play another move on the outside, even though all this is technically inside. So I'm going to just connect now. Make sure there's no problems here. And again, this is not something that I ever have to worry about. I have captured these 3 stones, so we don't have to keep playing here. Because they think there is a way to handle this situation, I'm going to very much point out that there's no chance of making 2 eyes in the center here. After this move, it should be much more obvious that there's no way of making 2 eyes here. Even if they can't read out a capturing race or anything like that, now they know for sure they can't live. And then they just have to get back to the point where they realize they're already dead on the top side. I'll just block here. Yep, Hane's okay. Probably don't actually need another move here either. So I guess I don't mind playing this Atari. You know, the capture here would be really nice. Yep, just extend. I'm hoping that they're probably seeing that they don't have any liberties anymore. So this will probably be very useful. Yep, now we can connect. Okay, I'm just going to block again here. Now they also see that I have 2 separate eyes, even if they didn't realize that this wasn't connected. Now they should know for sure. I'm even going to push again because it's worth points anyway, so I might as well do it. And then we can move on to just playing big moves again. So they are actually still not alive with this because they do have this co. So I'm going to push in here and see how they respond with their middle group. Because now that I'm very strong everywhere, I'm okay with using a co to try to get something good in the end game. So now there's 100% alive with this point here. But we can now throw in to make this a co for the second eye. And now we can play moves like this Hane here for free. And then come back to capture. And then we'll have some free moves against the corner. Even if we don't know how to kill it or do anything else with it, I think it should just be alive. We got some free moves here. And maybe a free move in the other corner. Maybe we'll get something. That's all we're looking for, just a couple of moves somewhere. This is a lot more complicated, but I was just wanted to have a little bit of fun with the co, basically. Once you're very, very solid everywhere, you should never really be afraid of any sort of co like this. You might lose 1 point if they get to do some sort of Atari here after they win, but as long as you're getting more than that, you should be happy. There's lots of different ways we can play over here. I'm just going to throw in, this is like the standard move. After you Hane with the J group in the corner, you can play this attachment, well, this place here, and then you're usually okay. I said this group should be alive, so it's perfectly fine. That's an interesting move. That's a move I actually wanted to play for myself, so I'm perfectly happy to connect now. Because now this group in the corner is actually dead when I extend here. So a slightly bad co-threat for my opponent, but they did leave quite a few weak groups everywhere on the board. And now we can actually look at how to kill, which is a throw in here and then Atari. We don't have to do that right now. We can go back to this co. Technically, we're already getting our profit, so we could do this right away. In any case, I'm just going to play the co for now. Okay, this is definitely a co-threat. I should respond. Because, yeah, if they cut there, obviously I'm just dead everywhere on this bottom half. Yeah, they got to live in the center, so, yeah, I will just respond. And, you know, I could keep trying to find co-threats, and there probably are still quite a few co-threats I can play out here. But I don't really need to anymore. We're just going to go back and kill this bottom right group. Even if they respond to this, I'm just going to kill the group. Yep, it's already dead, so we can just play another move here on the top side. Just play big endgame now. I guess small endgame is at the point we're actually at, but yeah. Playing endgame now is good. Okay. Can't let them cut me off. Okay, they do cut off here, which that was potentially bigger, but I was hoping there would be something over here in the corner that I could try to do. But it looks like it's kind of difficult to really do anything in the corner, so I'm just going to Atari it. And yeah, not worry about it for now. It's kind of an interesting looking move. I play this one, then I get some extra points here. If I play this one, oh, it's kind of weird, but all good. Okay, they resigned. Okay. All right, let's take a quick look at the game here. I think I talked about it a decent amount, but there are some things that I sort of wanted to emphasize a little bit here. First of all, this Iron Pillar move, as I mentioned before, yes, it is possible to try to do some sort of double approach. This is making the game very complicated, but you don't have to really make the game complicated this way because they could attack from this side and split the group. And now you have two different weaknesses that you have to worry about if you fix this one. Maybe you're going to get surrounded on this side in some way. It's really awkward. You don't want to have to be in that situation unless that's just how you like to play, I guess. That's fine. But the very first move you should always play is this 2 space extension. I've actually seen this Iron Pillar a few times. You have to sort of treat it the same as if they kicked you here. If they kicked you here and then they fix this, you just make an extension. This is the kick part. You don't need to extend here, but you don't need to like go up here. You can just make your base. And then if they go back to play another move on the left side, yeah, they're trying to get more territory here, but you've already defended yourself in some way, and you can move on with the game from there. But as I said, you can sort of consider it the same as just getting kicked. You extend up and you make your base. In this case, no extending, just making the base. And as I said, I've seen this actually quite a few times. But when they're very aggressive like this, we want to make sure that their stones are weaker than our stone. And after we take away their base here, their stone is now weaker. What they decided to do was come underneath like this, which actually makes our stones stronger, even if they extend here, which is sort of what I was expecting them to do. Even if we just connect up here like this and even turn, they don't even necessarily have to respond this way, but this is like a good, strong response. There's still a group that is not alive yet, and we did get quite a few liberties, so now we can just jump towards the center. They also have to jump towards the center, and we just make sure we're strong, and then the game is going to be fine from here on out. If we want to play a little bit faster, we don't want to do this sort of thing because it doesn't matter if they really connect. We could also just jump right away, or even before connecting here, instead of connecting, we could jump. Of course, it just depends on if this ladder works. In this case, this ladder doesn't really work, so I would probably just connect. But that's the other type of move you can do is the jump like this, because you can give up those 2 stones if you want to. So those are sort of the common variations you can play there. But yeah, this is very unusual, and I would say it's almost always good to just keep your stones connected, not worry about what your opponent is doing. Your opponent is trying to get second line territory in the opening, and you are very happy to let them have second line territory in the opening. Because they went the wrong way, we get to block here first, which if we get to capture these 2 stones, they become very useless stones, and they actually made our group too thick or too powerful here. So they have to save their stones, and then we can just jump towards the center and be very comfortable. So I did mention that the corner was dead because they extended this way. I want to sort of mention why it's dead here. It's not 100% dead, because what they could do at this point is they could extend down. This does make it into a co shape, and that's kind of complicated. But the most common shape that you'll see here is the tiger's mouth. And after this tiger's mouth shape, it is just a dead group, sort of no matter what they play. This is the sort of normal variation. You don't have to necessarily memorize what I'm showing you right now. I'm just showing it to you so that you've seen it. And that's the more important part. Exposure to information is very, very important, I think, even if you don't understand the information yet. It's just knowing that this group is not alive is very, very important. And the reason why is so that you won't play this move yourself. So if we Hane first, and then we do this Atari, and then we Hane and connect, I have a weakness on the outside, I probably need to connect here. And then you can connect as white, and now this group is alive in the corner. And I even may want to play one more move here. I don't necessarily have to, but I could want to play one more move here. And that's sort of the normal variation. I already have an extra move, so it's possible that I could play away again, because it's going to be difficult to use these 2 stones. Just good to know that this extension into here is not a very good shape in the corner. But there is an even bigger mistake that was going on here. They have this weak group, and they never really took care of the weak group. I even played very, very softly, just saving my own stones, and they invaded again. And they invaded again on the right side. That is definitely the wrong way to play, even though it's fun. I know a lot of people, they do this sort of thing just because it's entertaining. They just want to invade. They want to do this. They want to have fun with it. That is perfectly fine. If that's the reason why you're playing something, that's always okay. But if you thought it was good, or if you were jealous of your opponent's territory, that's a little bit different. You shouldn't be jealous of what I'm getting here, because your only thought should be, I have a weak group. I need to fix my weak group. So let me just run away. After you have officially saved your weak group, let's even run away one more time to make sure it's very far away from being attacked. After you've done that, now you can go back and do something. And so if you're in a situation where you feel uncomfortable because you had to do this, that means you already made a mistake. And that mistake was back here, right? They already made this mistake. This was too early. If they defend themselves over here first in any way they want, now when they come back over here, they don't need to play another move on the left side to try to get anything. And even if they play the same exact thing, which is a little bit bad, but even if they play the same exact thing, I'm a little bit more behind enemy lines when white jumps out here. So I'll probably want to jump again. Instead of playing from this side, I kind of don't want to be behind my opponent, behind meaning this top stone here to this top stone here. I don't really want to be behind this line. I could do this, but I shouldn't do this. I should actually focus on my weak group first. Weak group first. Then if they jump out again, I don't necessarily have to play here. I can maybe go back and play a different way if I want to. But even here, I don't really want to be so close to my opponent's strength. So I might even jump one more time. There's sort of the proper way to play. I'm fixing my weak group first. And then white can go and fix their weak group as well, however they want to. But we should not be invading and making me stronger before defending. That's very, very important. You don't want to do that before defending. And so that's the same concept here. This is sort of a defensive move. We're fixing the ability for black to have approached on the left side. And then now that they're strong, they could then invade if they wanted to. And so if we go back to a later part in the game, it actually ends up being very similar. Like here, I decided not to kill the corner, even though I probably could. After they play this move, I'm very far out towards the center. I don't really have to worry about anything. So I could just Hane, and then this group is dead. Right, is that same shape here. And that would be good enough to win the game if I wanted to. To keep it a little bit simpler for myself, I want to make sure my weak group was never in danger. So I strengthened my weak group before anything else. That's all I've been doing this entire game, is I've been focusing just on my own weak group. And then I get some points here, and that's not the move. And then I extend here. My own weak group is stronger now. I get some more points, and then they invade again. So I push them towards where I'm strong. I fix my weakness. They go to live. I fix my weakness again. And then we pressure them a little bit here. But I'm just fixing my weakness, allowing them to live if they want to. But you see that's the entire time I'm just focusing on fixing my own stones. I don't want to ever be in trouble. It's very, very, very important. I don't ever want to be in trouble. I even took one more move to play over here to make sure I'm not in trouble. There's potentially better moves to play. I could have killed the corner. I could have done anything else. But if I just make sure I'm strong, I never have to worry about the game. And I think that's basically everything I really wanted to talk about. I think I covered everything else in the game. Maybe the only thing I could really say that came up quite often was the idea of following up with your moves. This happens quite a lot where people do not follow up or follow through with the moves they play. So often people will connect like this, then their opponent plays a move, then they play another move, and then their opponent's alive now, and so their opponent gets to follow up, and they don't actually get the benefit from the move they played. It's just something to keep in mind. If you're threatening something, you should follow up with it. Apart from that, I think this was a pretty good game, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. Just remember to always keep your group strong. Always focus on defending yourself before doing anything else. As long as you're strong, you can play whatever move you want afterwards. And as long as you're doing that, you should be able to progress. I hope you guys are having a good day. I hope you guys have fun.